When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. Before we begin, there's going to be I think at least 2 flashbacks to tie some things into the story all together. I think there's 2. There might be 3. I'm not totally sure. They're not very long, so it won't be a major flashback. It's just to tie a couple events together. Now, this is The Son of Brainiac, Part 10. Let's continue where we last left off in our story. We continue our story in an alien bar on an unknown planet, as you can see Lobo with his feet crossed onto the table while drinking some sort of alcohol drink that looks similar to Earth beer. Lobo took another drag of his cigar as a small figure approached him. Well, I didn't expect to see you here, of all places, witch boy. Charming as ever. Lobo. Eagle, Clarion's anchor to this realm, jumped onto the table and started to eat the leftover food that was on one of the plates that was already on the table. Clarion sat down as a chocolate shake from Earth materialized right in front of him as the witch boy began to drink his beverage. So what exactly are you after, boy? I highly doubt you came here to see me on a personal matter. I would refrain how you speak with me, Lobo. You might be quite difficult to kill, but I could easily fix that for you. Lobo narrowed his eyes. I'm here for a specific reason. I have a job for you. Interesting. I'm listening. My services don't come cheap. Clarion materialized a gem that's pitch black. If you stare at it close enough into the gem, you could see a miniature black hole inside the pitch black gem. Is that what I think it is? Indeed. This, my barbaric friend, is one of the many gems I have access to. There's plenty more where that come from. If I remember right, these sort of gems are highly valuable. The understatement, only a few of these babies could buy you an entire planet. So, what's the job? Who do you want me to capture or kill? Well, you see, I came across someone by complete accident, and this specific person has provided me with such entertainment. To think that brainiac fellow could produce such an entity. You see, Brainiac has a kid. Lobo eyes widen. He's never heard anything about Brainiac having a brat. Even Lobo knows not to mess with the city snatcher, Brainiac, alongside with Darkseid, or Darkseid, whatever you want to call him. So the city snatcher has a brat. That he does. And he's quite interesting. The job is quite simple. I want you to try to kill him. Lobo's eyebrows raise as he takes another puff of his cigar, and inhaled the smoke, then exhaled it out of his mouth. I'm surprised you want him dead, considering he's been providing you with such entertainment. It would be unfortunate if he died, but if he's not strong enough, oh well. He has been challenged on several occasions. One with real power has matched him until now. I'm curious how he would react to you, considering your sparkling personality. Know how to butter a guy up. Sure, scary magic boy. I'll take the job. It sounds like fun. I want to see how strong an offspring of Brainiac really is. I have no doubt you won't be disappointed, Lobo. Where's the brat anyways? In a solar system, on a planet in uncharted space. Apparently, there's a different branch of humans from the human race. Their culture is quite similar to the humans on Earth. They just don't have access to space travel just yet. But the people there do have unique powers. Now you caught my interest. A planet filled with superpowered humans. Oh, this is going to be fun. Meanwhile, the son of Brainiac was in debriefing meeting, just observing Inko while she formulated a strategy. Izuku watches Inko work alongside with her daughter, Izumi. They haven't talked. They only acknowledge each other's presence, but that's as far as their interactions have gone so far. Of course, Dobby is off to the side, listening to the plan, just to get as much information he can. So whatever part of this plan he plays, he knows what to do. So what do you think? Very solid plan. To have me draw out their attention, using my reputation to get them to reveal themselves, while you and your people stay in the shadows and wait, then strike when they don't expect it. And it won't be hard on my part to make them angry. After all, I do like to talk. Clearly know how to push the wrong buttons, considering how you taunted the heroes at the sports festival. Was child's play. No offense to your race, but you humans here are not all that complex. At least, majority you aren't. Can't argue with you there. I can't argue with that. That endeavor is quite simple to understand. That's why it's so much fun to fuck with him. Deku's playful expression turned serious. Inko could immediately tell, by the look in his eye, she might not be able to see the bottom part of his face because of the black metal face guard mask covering the bottom part of his face, but his eyes' expressions is easily to be noticeable by Inca. How much damage do you want me to cause? What do you think, Izumi? It would be prefer if the buildings were completely destroyed and compromised. After all, we're going to take over the territory once they're out of our way. You're going to extend your territory. Let's damage the buildings. Try to cause as less damage to the buildings as possible. I'll keep that in mind for moving forward. I'll try not to cause too much damage to the structures of the buildings. I would appreciate that, Deku. Does this operation start anyways? According to the plan, in 3 hours. Very well. If there's anything else, I'll be heading back to my room. Deku and Dabi walked out of the briefing room and went back to their rooms. So how are we going to play this, boss? We're going to cause havoc, but try not to damage the buildings too much. Are you sure this is okay? Making them more powerful? It will only help us at the end of the day. After all, whatever power and territory they gain, it's only temporary. After all, this world won't be around for very much longer. You do have a point. Whatever they do now is pretty much meaningless. You're pretty much a doomsday scenario. Deku took off his face guard mask, and a grin was on his face alongside Dabi. If Dabi knew that he had DNA from such a creature that is known as a living weapon called Doomsday, his father only used the strongest DNA in his creation, after all. Deku put his face guard back on his face. Several hours later, Deku and Dabi finally entered the hostile territory of the villain group, while Inko and her people follow in the shadows. Inko motioned her people with her hand to neutralize all of the villains that were on the roof of the buildings that are most likely were put there for lookouts for any hostile entering their territory. Inko got behind one of them, of the villains, and snapped his neck, and she gently caught the dead body and gently lowered to the ground, as the rest of her people do the same. As Inka opened up a mental link, telling Deku everything's clear, they can move on with the plan. All the lookouts has been neutralized. Dabi, it's time we do our part. Light it up. Pleasure, boss. The first villain Dabi saw in his line of sight, he immediately engulfed him and blew fire. He no longer has to worry about overheating his body anymore. As a flashback goes, a couple days before the sports festival, Dabi walked into the laboratory. You needed to see me, boss. Deku turned around and placed a small device in the middle of the round table that's in the laboratory, as there was 2 holographic images of cork genes. What am I looking at? I'm not really qualified in all this scientific stuff. This one on the right here is a cork gene, specifically your cork gene. And this is a completely separate cork gene to the right of yours. This specific cork gene is just perfect for your little problem by overheating your body. Wait, is that even possible? It is possible. After all for One is not the only one able to give people quirks. I tweaked this one personally. It is a ice-based quirk. There's a possibility once I inserted it with your current quirk into your genetic code, the two quirks might merge. There's about an 84% chance of that occurring, but I don't see any negatives if it does transpire. I don't need to know it anymore. When can we do this? Right away, if you desire. In a flashback, Deku is looking around, spotting several villains rushing towards him. When the closest villain jumped off the car and launched himself in the middle of the air, Deku caught the villain by the neck and used his left hand, that's currently free. He extended the left palm of his hand towards the villains. As the skin onto his palm began to spread apart, as a black bone spike popped out, then suddenly shot several sharp shards of bone spike shot out of the palm of his hand. As the bone pierced through the villains and pinning them to the wall, either going through their chests or skull, Deku simply snapped the man's neck that's in the palm of his hand and threw the dead body into one of the park vans. The moment the villain's dead body made contact with the metal instantly bent and crunched from the pressure of the body hitting it. Come forth and face your death. Deku pointed his finger like he was holding a gun, then started to use his finger like a firearm. As bolts of green electricity shoot out of his fingertips, piercing right through the villains and electrocuting them, killing them immediately afterwards from being shocked to death. Dobby is having a hard time keeping his focus, just witnessing his boss at work, slaughtering villain after villain, is quite a sight to see. Dobby refocused his attention towards several villains coming out of the building and running towards him. Dobby dodged several villains trying to slash him with their knives, with their bladed weapons like knives and machetes. Then, while dodging, Dobby placed his palm in the face of one of the villains and immediately ignited his head with blue fire. Then Dobby spun around and let out a larger wave of blue fire, killing the rest of them by burning them alive, leaving nothing but ash. Deku is easily dodging several villain attacks, non-stop. Deku is dodging several villains, with his hands behind his back, with a mocking smirk on his face, making the other villains furious. When one of the villains started to throw fire, Deku manipulated the flames. It only circled around Deku, then shot off in a random direction. So you're a fire user, are you? I'll show you how to properly use fire. Deku shot out a wave of green fire out of his mouth, killing a good portion of the villains. The carnage that Deku was causing, you could see two figures in the air, standing on some sort of magical construct. of a large square surface, just hovering in the sky. Figures are staring down below, watching Deku's massacre of all the other humans. That's the brat. He does look the part. I like his style. What now? We'll watch for now. I want to see how this plays out. Isn't that right, Tickle? As Clarion pet Tickle, as the cat begins to purr from the personal attention from its master, from being petted. Clarion conjures a large, red magical construct of a disc, showing a better view of the fight down below with Deku, so they can easily watch instead of looking downwards. It's clear to give them a better view of the action. Deku begins to kill villain after villain in all different ways, shooting them with his green electricity or using his green fire. He even uses telekinesis combined by shooting out energy out of the palm of his hand, as several of the villains that have fire quirks shut out their fire when they had Deku surrounded on all sides. Before all the fire blasts could make contact with Deku, a green energy field appeared, absorbing all of their fire attacks. Nice try, as the green energy shield that surrounded Deku begins to disappear. Deku suddenly heard gunfire inside the main building where all the villains are coming out of. The leader of the Pacific villain group came crushing out of the main door. When he landed, he was dead. Deku could hear footsteps, as so everyone else, coming out of the exit, as a very familiar figure came walking out. Revealing himself as Director Lee of the Safety Committee, live and well. Only difference about him is the glowing symbol on his neck, the symbol of the Witch Boy, or Clarion. Clarion has a sinister smile. Now the fun can begin. As we cut to a flashback, as Director Lee was pinned to the wall, dead, where Deku left him when he killed him. A portal opened up, revealing Clarion, walking towards the dead corpse that was pinned to the wall by kryptonite spikes. The Witch Boy simply placed one of the tips of his fingers on his forehead as the corpse started to heal, as Clarion returned the soul to the body, as the human gasped as he starts to breathe. What the hell? Good, you're awake. That was a sad sight, truly pathetic. How are you? I'm neither friend or enemy. I simply find this play to be so interesting, so I'm going to offer you a chance to redeem yourself from such a pitiful defeat, to take your revenge. What do you say? Human, do you want to make a deal? Clarion extended his hand outward for the director. With a sinister smile, the director immediately took his hand. Clarion uses magic to rip out the kryptonite spikes into his shoulders. Not only did the Witch Boy revive him and place his soul back into his body, he even modified his body to be stronger and faster. And he had a little surprise for the son of Brainiac. when they cross paths again. A flashback as the director, Lee, stepped out of the building fully. "You're looking pretty well for someone I killed." Lee readjusted his glasses. "You did kill me, as much as that was unpleasant, but I have a chance to recorrect my error. I'm going to make sure I kill you personally. I don't know how you accomplished to revive yourself. The most likely outcome is you most likely got help from the outside. No matter, I'll just kill you again. Let's see what you got, pencil pusher. I'm going to enjoy this more than I should." The director uncuffed his sleeves and rolled them up, all the way up to his elbows, and punched one of the incoming villains. As the villain was sent flying into the wall, he was dead on impact. "You see, villain, I have been upgraded, and I haven't even used my quirk yet." Director Lee flash-stepped right in front of Deku and landed a direct hit across his face, using a right hook, making Deku go skidding backwards as Lee reappeared and grabbed Deku by the face and slammed his knee hard. The director of the safety committee then proceeded to land a vicious spinning kick across his face, making Deku skid even further backwards. He stopped his momentum. Everyone witnessed that. Everyone was expecting Deku to be furious, angry, but instead, he had a smirk on his face. "Interesting. You're able to dish it out nicely. Let's see how much your body can really take." Deku disappeared in flash step, then reappeared right to Lee's right side and grabbed onto his arm and pulled him towards him and slammed his knee into the side of Lee's stomach. Then immediately afterwards, headbutt the director in the face. Deku began to land several left and right hooks across the human face. To end his combination barrage, he slammed his elbow in the middle of Lee's chest, making the director fly and crash into a wall of one of the buildings, leaving an imprint. But to Deku's surprise, the man only got up and dusted off the dust off his well-tailored suit. "Is that all you got?" "Don't worry about that, director. There's plenty more where that came from." Deku charged forward, kicking up dust as he does so, and began to throw fast-paced combination strikes at Lee. The director was able to keep up with his movements, but to keep up with his fast-paced movements, Deku hopped backwards and began to slide backwards, as so does Lee. The director of the safety committee snapped his fingers, activating his quirk, as liquid metal came out of his skins, or his porals. Skin porals, basically what it is, and formed into several floating swords. The silver swords began flying towards Deku. Deku begins to dodge the flying bladed objects. Deku started to strike the swords using his forearm as the cork-created swords dig into the ground once it made contact with Deku's forearms. Impressive. It's a very unique quirk indeed. You should give up. You should give up now. I'll make your death painless. You cannot win. That's not really going to happen, especially by you. You don't have the skill or the necessary power to even hurt me. Your chances of surviving is non-existent. Normally, I don't have to kill the same person twice, so this is a unique opportunity for me. I do apologize ahead of time. It won't be pleasant for you, Director. Lee's vision shifted and changed as he found himself flying into the wall without even realizing it. As you can see Deku with his fist extended where the Director once was, before he was sent flying backwards from a punch and launched into the wall. Deku moved so fast no one didn't even notice it. Outside of the Witch Boy and Lobo watching the fight, using the magical disc construct to keep track of the fight. Holy shit. That was fast. I almost didn't even notice it. Haven't seen anything yet. Deku has many abilities that you haven't seen yet. Clarion is fully aware. Deku is part Kryptonian. Lobo has no idea. He doesn't plan to tell me either. It would ruin his fun. He might not know how... Clarion might not know what else genetic codes that was used in Deku's creation. He knows for certain Deku wasn't born the normal way. Deku rushed towards the Director and began to rapidly hit him in the face, so fast he can't be seen by the normal human eye. All everyone can see is the Director being hit by some sort of an invisible force repeatedly. Deku suddenly felt a surge of dark magic coming from the Director. Of course, Deku has no idea it's magic to begin with. This is the first time he's encountered anything to do with the magical world. The Director's hands cover his face and his head, screaming out in pain as the symbol on his neck begins to glow bright red. Lee's bones begin to crack, then rebuild. It is a very disturbing sight to witness. Someone's body get destroyed rapidly, then rebuild itself as fast as the Director screams out in pain the entire time. As Lee look up in the sky, "Damn you, Clarion, you betrayed me. I'm going to kill you." As Lee finally stopped screaming. Well, he said he screamed that while screaming. Director's skin begins to turn pitch white, become hard like armor. He lost his hair and facial features, as two extra limbs pop out of the back of his shoulders, slowly forming into full functional arms. As all four arms turn into claw-like. Transformation finally ended. The newly transformed Director Lee stand up to his feet, as there's two spikes protruding on each side of his lower, under his ribs, side of his body, under the last part of his rib cage. That's clearly visible. That turned into bone-like armor. His stomach is completely hollowed out, no organs to be seen, as there are smaller spikes protruding all around the hollow hole that was once his stomach. It had no facial feature. It did has teeth in his jaw. As the creature let out a screech, creating a pulse of a sound wave, destroying all glasses in glass in the radius of the creature. Director Lee is no more. All there's left is a mindless monster. Damn, that's pretty cold of you. He still known better to make a deal with a complete stranger, and a witch boy of that. He was too blind by his ambition and thirst for revenge to know he was only a pawn piece to be manipulated. What do you expect? He's a human after all. He's only one of many. And I want to see how he handles this situation. This is most entertaining, as a popcorn bowl filled with popcorn materialized in Clarion's hand. Popcorn? Lobo shrugged his shoulders and took a handful of popcorn and began to enjoy the show. Creature rushed towards Deku with inhuman speed. The creature slammed its fist into Deku's stomach with the lower right arm, lifting Deku up a couple inches from the ground, then used the upper left arm to slam his fist across Deku's face, then slam all four fists into Deku's chest, making Deku go flying off into one of the buildings. Because magic was involved in the transformation of the Director Lee, the creature has the ability to actually hurt Deku. Possibly kill Deku if the circumstances are correct. If the situation is in its favor. Deku walked out of the hole of the wall of the building and dusts off the small pebbles of rock and cement off of his shoulders. Now that's what I'm talking about. I actually felt that. Director, no. Creature. Whatever you become, you're no longer yourself. You're nothing but a ravage animal. Don't worry. Once I have my fun with you, I'll end your miserable existence permanently. I'll leave nothing left for someone to revive you again. You could guarantee yourself that. The transformed Director Lee only snarled and screeched and began to charge forward on all fours, rushing towards Deku. And that's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Judge your time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.